Hi, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to You Still Matter, a show about seniors and those who love them. By popular demand, we are welcoming back Miss Glenda Horton Manning. Glenda, how are you?
I am wonderful, Donna. So good to see you.
And it's good to see you as well. Listen,
Yes.
is it as hot there in the Carolinas as it is here in Georgia?
Something tells me it's even hotter. We've got the heat on here.
Wow, yes, we are. I guess
Yeah.
we're all in what are they calling this? Early summer heat wave, huh?
Yes, it's like living in a sauna.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
like living in a sauna. Yes, it is.
Yeah, we have to be real careful to remain hydrated, right?
Especially seniors.
Yes,
Especially
absolutely.
seniors.
Absolutely trying to stay out of the heat if at
That's
all
right.
possible, right? Well, I know today we're going to talk about grandparenting and
Right.
what has changed as
Yes.
far as grandparenting. So I want you to just kind of get us kicked off about, I know you're a grandparent
Yes.
and you have a lot to contribute about grandparenting. So I'm just going to let you do that, okay?
Thank you, Donna. Indeed, I am
Mhm.
a grandparent and I'm a great grandparent. So
Yes.
I've had a little bit of experience along the way. But what I want to say too is thank you for the opportunity to talk about something that is so dear to my heart. It's children, and my children's children. My husband and I became grandparents very early on. We were young when we became grandparents. That was a good thing too because we had energy, we had resources, and we just made time. We made time for them, and we spent a lot of good time with my grandchildren. They spent time with us here in the house. We had a couch bed, a queen size couch bed, and we put all three of them down for a nap together. That was so much fun. And I could just think as I saw them sleeping, I would think how wonderful it is to keep them safe and happy and to make sure they had the things that they needed. The good thing is we were not raising them without their parents. You're blessed when you have your grandchildren and your grandchildren have their parents. And so you're literally helping them along the way. And we just enjoyed doing that. We spent a lot of time entertaining them. As a family, we would have cookouts and we would go outside and play. We play with their toys, their bicycles and their scooters, whatever they had, we would play with that. And we just enjoyed it because we were young and full of energy and all that good stuff. That was a wonderful time. We really enjoyed it. And most of the people I talk with are thrilled when they become grandparents because
Mhm.
that becoming a grandparent is like being given a second chance by God, a second chance to raise your children. Of course, we know we're not going to raise our grandchildren with their parents here. They're doing that. But then we have an opportunity to help them do just that. So that's where some of the joy comes in. The other part comes in is when you see your grandchildren, sometimes you are looking at yourself, you know. In fact, when family members or others see them, they say, oh, he looks like this one. Oh, he looks like that one. You think you're just looking at yourself. And that's a fun thing to do. And that's part of why we enjoy having them around because they remind us of when we were younger and another time in our lives. But things
Mhm.
have changed and things continue to change with grandchildren. The times have changed. Our opportunities to spend time with them has changed. In fact, our grandchildren have grown up. They are not little people anymore. So we couldn't put them in a queen size bed and let them all go to sleep and take a nap at the same time. We couldn't even take them out for their scooters and to play outside like we used to. That's
Mhm.
in fact, with our grandchildren, we used to buy a season pass for Carowinds. Have you ever heard of Carowinds? It's
Yes.
our amusement park that's on the North Carolina and South Carolina state lines.
Mhm.
Some of the rides take you in North Carolina, some of the rides take you in South Carolina. A fun place to be. And people come from all over the nation and other parts of the world to have fun at Carowinds. Well, we were rich enough that we would buy a season pass for each of our children. I have to say, that was another day. One thing, that season pass now is not as expensive as it was, but this is another day. And I think that's what I want to talk about today where grandparents are concerned. Raising grandparents or raising grandchildren today is different because there's so many other influences on our children. Technology,
Mhm.
for example. So when you see grandchildren today, most of them have a little iPad or cell phone in their hands. And they really would rather talk to that thing more than to talk to you. In fact, they really don't have time to talk to you. They're not so interested in going outside playing, doing some of the
Mhm.
things.
Right. I remember you mentioning, and we're
Yes.
having, sounds like we're having a little technical audio difficulty. Let's get that worked out. We'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry. All right, I think we have our audio situation taken care of. Of course, when we're recording live, these kinds of things can happen. So, Glenda, I'm going to let you continue. I remember you stating that, kids they're not the same, of course, and they would rather speak to their electronics than actually speak to us, right? And I remember when you said with your kids, you got your grandkids, you all would go outside and play and things like that.
Yes.
So, not as much anymore, right?
Not so much.
Yeah.
No, not so much anymore. The children of today are a bit different, but their parents are too.
Mhm.
And we talked about parenting and how valuable that is in the growth and development of little boys and girls. And so our parents are different too in many ways because now my children who have children, and those children are my grandchildren, as they were growing, what I said was law. If mama said something, that's the way it was. If papa said something, that's the way it was. But with this next generation, the children and the parents seem to have feel that they have the right to ask questions. So they want to know, but why? And I thought differently or something of that nature, not as we were told when your parents say something, that's just the way it is.
Mhm.
And so today the children have been taught that there are many other options and that they like to take it and that you can challenge the thoughts and even the rules of other adults. And they include grandparents in that. So that part has changed quite a bit. Though I'm still enjoying my great grandchildren, but I don't get to share them and enjoy them as I did the grandchildren. Part of it is not just that they are different, but becoming a senior, I am different too. And so is my husband and other adults that are raising children or enjoying their great grandchildren because we don't have the same energy level that we used to have. We don't even have the same interest that we used to have. Families don't gather like they used to. I think COVID brought about a change there. We're trying to come back, but we'll never get back to where we used to be. And so lots of things are different socially, emotionally, even academically, even in the way children are learning. That changes the way we interact with them. And it changes the way we have an opportunity to interact with them. So as we look at seniors today, I look at myself today. I really don't have the same level of energy. I do have time, more time, but sometimes I don't care to spend my time that way. Remember, in other segments, we have talked about things like taking care of you. So if you spend quality time taking care of yourself, you may not have so much time to spend with someone else. The other thing is resources. As you grow older, we retire, and then we settle into what we call our finances become stable, fixed, if you will. We say a fixed income. And that means we don't have the income to do all the things that we used to do. So that too makes a difference. Many seniors and couples, like my husband and I, have scaled down to one car. So we had two cars, we were going in so many different directions at the same time. But now we have to coordinate that. So that's another change that we have. So we're not free to move grandchildren around like we used to anyway. So things have changed. But then I think, Donna, it's important for us, one, to recognize the change and to take the best out of it that we possibly can. So when we do have an opportunity to see our children, we need to savor the moments and impart into them what we believe we want them to know and believe. If we don't have as many minutes with them now as we used to years ago, then we have to take advantage of those that we have. We talk about our faith, and so often our faith is challenged. Technology, organizations, even schools are challenging what we used to know. So when we have those special moments with our grands and our great grands, it's important to still share with them what we believe. What is it that we stand on? To talk about our character. What's good character? What's expected of them? What got us to where we are today? What do we think it will take to carry them on into the future. Just taking advantage of the few moments that we do have. Also taking advantage of the resources that we have, whatever they may be. Now, we used to show a lot of love through food. And years ago, it was all about cooking the big meal. I prepared a meal for my great grands, and they looked at it as though it was foreign. And they ate very little of it. I later found out that they didn't want a meal, that they wanted pizza and they wanted nuggets. And I really felt, out of place. I felt out of tune because here I could not enjoy what I thought and what used to be a lot of fun. And that was sitting down, having a meal together.
Mhm.
And so the next time they come, believe me, I'm going to have pizza because I do want to make them happy. I do
Mhm.
want them to be able to enjoy themselves.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a quick break, and then I want to come back and talk a little more about you mentioning character, because they have what is called character education in the schools, and why
Yes,
it's so important for parents and grandparents to do exactly what you said, to talk to them about character, because no one knows, our children's character better than we do. And I believe that we certainly should be the ones that are making sure that we're the ones that teach them the character, because
yes.
they don't know. So you guys will be right back in just a moment, okay?
Have you, or perhaps a youth that you know, ever been bullied? Ever felt self conscious about yourself? Have you ever thought that you were working on a project and you just could not finish? You wanted to quit? Well, if that is the case, listen, I have something for you. It's called My Forever Affirmations Book and Journal. It is just simply a quick, to the point book of affirmations that will give you a boost of confidence when you read or recite them. Okay, very quick, poetic style. And so if you need to be encouraged, and who doesn't, because I know I do, then I want to invite you to go to Amazon.com, type in My Forever Affirmations Book and Journal by Donna Page Riley, and listen. You will be glad that you did, and you will be encouraged.
All right, we are back, and we were talking about the importance of sharing, character traits with our children and grandchildren. So very important. I remember also, Glenda, I remember you saying that oftentimes the grandchildren will say, well, why? If you tell them that they can or cannot do something, and they'll say, why? And I remember, I know someone who has grandchildren, and she just says that she doesn't like to say no to them because she doesn't want them to be mad at her. Now, what advice would you give to her? Because she's making sure that she's keeping it. And sometimes she says she wants, to be friendly, and she certainly doesn't want them to be upset with her. How would
Yes.
you address that being a grandparent?
Well, that's a tough one, but it's one that we do have to work toward. And it begins where you started this broadcast in prayer. And so, personally, before I speak, I ask God to bless my words and give me the right words to say. And it's okay to ask God to bless your words as you speak to children and as you speak to others. It's okay to ask Him to give you the right words to say, number one. And then, number two, you don't want to be offensive, but you do want to be honest.
Mhm.
And that's
Absolutely.
not easy. And we begin to answer questions based upon a prior relationship that we have with children. Those relationships need to be built upon love, respect, and understanding. And when children love you, they respect you, then they understand you, and
Mhm.
they all go together. It's a building on process. And
Yeah.
sometimes, if it's not there, if it's a child that you have yelled at, or you've used bad words with, or that you've been unkind to, they are inclined not to hear you. They are inclined to reject what you have to say. So we build our relationship on love, respect, and kindness for each other. And so that's what we have to work on. And that's where we come from as we begin to answer questions that they have. It's okay for children to ask questions. It's okay. It's the way they answer. And then their
Mhm.
willingness to listen I mean, to listen as we speak to them so that they're open to learn. They may know. In fact, our children are so smart today. Huh, we as seniors are really at their mercy. So we have to teach them well and teach them right because they will be governing our lives.
That's right.
Ways they're doing it right now, but they certainly will do it in the future. As we become less and less active and less influential, they become more and more of that themselves. And
Absolutely.
so that's where it's a building on process.
Once again, it has been great having you here. I know that, again, this will not be your last time, but what I want to do, and guys, thank you so much for sending in your comments. I want to share some, and here's one that says, I truly enjoyed the session with Glenda Horton Manning. Her information on loss of family, friends, coworkers, very much needed, and how we should make younger friends. Also, caring for ones is something we must do. Please have Glenda back. Her knowledge is greatly appreciated. And that came from Rose. Thank you, Rose. Here's another one from Kathy. It says, what an absolutely informative and insightful interview. Glenda Manning provided an abundance of knowledge that is so relevant and beneficial for our day. With her lovely face, warm smile, and heart of energy, her surprising 80 years of life embodies a fine example of all to emulate. Looking forward to more interesting interviews and words of wisdom, encouragement, and support from Glenda. Thank you,
Wow.
Kathy. And here's one awesome content. Miss Glenda is very pretty at age 80. Taking care of self, body, mind, and spirit is key. Thank you. And that comes from Carol. So you all, thank you so much for just viewing the show. Thank you so much for your comments. And I will be reading more on another episode because some of you do actually email the comments and you're sending them to youstillmatter55@gmail.com. So those of you who prefer to email, you can continue to do that, and I will be sharing those as well on upcoming episodes. Again, in case you missed the last episode, so last week, you certainly want to go back and take a look at it, all right? And of course, again, Glenda and I, we met over 3 decades ago. We were both presenting parenting workshops. So
Absolutely.
3 decades ago. And we've had an opportunity to stay connected. And I will give you a little hint. We will be hosting a virtual parenting and grandparenting virtual conference. So we'll keep you posted on that. It's coming up in July, and we will keep you posted. All right. Again, make sure that you encourage yourself. And I know we were going to talk also, Glenda, about making sure we encourage our grandkids and affirming them, as well. It's so important to do that, right?
Right.
And again, thank you all for joining us. Listen, no matter your age, no matter who you are or what you may be facing, always remember that you still matter. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Take care. God bless. And we will see you soon. Bye for now.